This is TWiT.
Let Paul talk about OneDrive, because this is, you know, there's a new version of the Windows 10 tech preview out as of last week, and they've made some changes that some of the more power user type people are not that happy about. And I'm going to let Paul weigh in on that, and then I'm going to weigh in.
Okay, not that happy about is an understatement. So
I know.
Remember, can I just say, remember, this is a tech preview.
Yep.
This is not a released version of Windows by any means.
That. We know. Yeah, but see, that's actually the problem. So, in other words, the first two preview builds of Windows 10 have been very high quality, very stable, very recommendable, you know, to even normal people. They work very well. And this third one, okay, so it's kind of a regression from a stability standpoint. But they quietly, and by quietly I mean there was no warning that this was coming, but they introduced a major change to OneDrive. And so if you were coming at Windows 10 from a Windows 8.1 perspective, the first couple of builds of Windows 10 worked just like Windows 8.1 did, and then the third one suddenly did not. So the outrage is not that they've made that change, although that would certainly generate a certain amount of grumbling. It's that they basically explained themselves and said, yeah, we're not fixing this. This is the way it's going to work going forward. There'll be improvements to it, but it's never going back to the way it was. So that's the problem. It's not that it's a beta build and we're overreacting. It's that Microsoft is fundamentally changing the way that OneDrive works in Windows, and not for the better. And so we could go really far into the weeds, but the short version that I'll try to make is that when you think about OneDrive sync clients, you're basically talking about three different operating systems: Mac OS 10, Windows 7, and Windows 8.1. Mac OS 10 and Windows 7 work the same way. You sign into OneDrive. It says, do you want to sync all of your OneDrive to the PC, or do you want to pick which folders to sync? Obviously, in these days of 1 terabyte, 10 terabyte, eventually unlimited storage, some people, power users who are actually uploading stuff to OneDrive, like I am, are going to have to select the folders to sync. So the problem with that approach is that if you have 3 folders in OneDrive and they all have different things in them, and I'm trying to simplify this, but you try to just sync one from File Explorer in Windows or from the Finder in Mac OS 10, you'll only see that folder. You'll have no access to the other locations. In Windows 8.1, they had a more elegant and also more complex system for some people, where they didn't ask you what you wanted to sync. What they did was you logged in with your Microsoft account to the computer. It automatically synced placeholders for everything. And so it looked like everything was there. But what you were really seeing were little thumbnails and metadata files for the files that are really up in the cloud. And so if you double-clicked on one, it would open. It would have to download. So if it was a huge file, it might take a long time to open. Or you could arbitrarily mark files and folders for offline use. The problem with this system, and I think this is an issue that Mary Jo has experienced, is that because those things appear in the file system, you think they're there. And so maybe you get on a plane or you're in some other offline situation. You double-click on that Word document. It's not there. It's in the cloud, and you can't get to it because now you're offline. And so people complain. But the other issue here, and this is, I think, the important one, is that placeholder files aren't free, right? So if you have a terabyte of files, depending on the makeup of those files, in the cloud that is, the amount of space that those placeholders could take up on your drive could be tens of gigabytes. You know, if you have 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes, 10 terabytes, it's going to be, even more. And so we have this weird situation where Microsoft, on the one hand, is offering unlimited storage in OneDrive to everyone who pays for Office 365. And on the other hand, they're selling really low-end devices, or their partners are, that have 16 gigs of storage, 32 gigs of storage, right? And it's conceivable that you, as the happy and proud owner of a new HP Stream 7 laptop tablet that has, I can't remember what it has, 32 or 16 gigs of storage, you log into your account, you play with it for a little while, you load a couple of games on there, and you go to bed. The next time you turn it on, it says, burp, you have run out of space. Because while you weren't using it, it was downloading all the placeholders. It's not downloading the files, just the placeholders. And it filled up all the space in your drive. And so that's the problem, or those are the problems. So the placeholders take up space. That's going to be a problem in low-end devices, which are going to be the popular devices. And then normal people didn't realize that the placeholder files weren't the files.